Now, it's my pleasure to turn it over to a gentleman that I've had a chance to work with over the last couple of years. And I can tell you again, he epitomizes exactly what we want to have in this community. Again, strong skills, strong backgrounds, which is the head part of making real progress. But I can tell you, as strong as his skills are, organizationally, business, those sorts of things, his heart is where it's all at. And that's Phil Wise. Phil, could you come up here for just a moment? Going back a couple of years, we had a lot of conversations on exactly what would be the role of the Dallas Faith Community Coalition, where it would go, what it had been doing, what the opportunities were. And I can tell you when we were out there that last Saturday, and we had not only his organization, but several other organizations, including Habitat that were standing out there, you could see all of a sudden the progress that had been made. And I can tell you a lot of that goes to Phil. Phil has been influential in not only the organizational elements and that sort of thing, but also the fundraising to see it happen. Because I tell you, something like that wouldn't happen with just a smile. It took people like the Reese Jones Foundation at the back there, who were involved and were willing to step up and put the financial resources in it so that we acquired those 43 properties. So all of a sudden, those properties, all of a sudden, those aren't those derelict homes, but now they're part of the community where people are actually moving to West Dallas as opposed to away from West Dallas. And Phil, you've had an important part in that. I know the Dallas Faith Community Coalition is an important part of it. You put your heart and soul into that. We just appreciate it. You saw yesterday, I think you've all got it in front of you, an editorial that was in the Dallas Morning News that talks about West Dallas, that talks about the momentum that's there. Because I think that's a good way to put it. As we were talking a moment ago, there's a lot of steps that still have to go. There's a lot of work before we get there. But I can tell you, I'm excited about what's happening in West Dallas, and a lot of it wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for this gentleman. Phil, can I turn it over to you? Thank you.
This may sound like a love fest, but when you bring people of faith together, that's what happens. And if I could, just on a personal note, thank our mayor, Tom Lippert. He epitomizes what a public servant is supposed to be. And Tom, thank you for your leadership here. And I think we're all inspired when we're in a room with Tom Newhoff and Orville Wilson and Trey Hill and Mayor Lippert and this great delegation from SMU and so many others. And I think that our cause we may be winning here. I've got a brief part of the agenda, which is just to kind of retrace a little bit of the history of the Dallas Faith Community Coalition. And we started this 5 short years ago, believe it or not, with a simple motto that the best way to build community was one family at a time. And we concluded that it took strong families to build strong communities, and the only way to build strong communities and strong families was for the city to do what it does best, and for the faith community to do what it does best, which is really serve families. And based on that simple premise, we went forward, we put together a business plan, and we concluded that most of the efforts to regenerate our neighborhoods in Dallas had, quite frankly, failed for a variety of reasons. We weren't sure why, but we knew that if we picked one neighborhood and put all the resources we could, and took the best practices across the city from all the faith community, and we leveraged that into one part neighborhood with one definable boundary, we could really do something different. And that approach seems to be working. And based on that new approach, we formed a partnership with the city, and led by former Mayor Miller and now Mayor Lippert, and the great staff here at the city, and Jerry Killingsworth of the Housing Department, we slowly but surely started to make some progress. And we picked West Dallas for a variety of reasons. One, West Dallas was a neighborhood that was going to have the benefit of a lot of public infrastructure. But most importantly, the West Dallas community welcomed us in as partners. And we couldn't say that about a lot of the communities in Dallas. We had vision leaders like Orville Wilson that said, please come to West Dallas and join with us in partnership, which we've done. The first thing the faith community did is we listened to the community. We engaged the community to figure out what kind of community they wanted and what their challenges were. And at the top of the list were 2. One was crime and one was affordable housing. So we went to work. The city brought in a community prosecutor. We started putting street lights in, building sidewalks. Crime started to go down. And on the housing front, the faith community took charge. And we did 2 things that were pretty audacious at the time. One, we built on faith. We made a commitment to build 100 houses in West Dallas. And we made that commitment without any money in the bank. And it was truly a leap of faith. The second thing we did is we decided maybe to start with one house. So we built the first house here at City Hall, behind City Hall. And Mayor Leopard, we asked the City Council to build that first house. And two great things happened. One, we gave them power tools, no incidents. We built that first successful house, and we moved it to West Dallas on Bitter Street. And I'm happy to say 4 years later, that house is there, that family's there, the landscaping has taken hold, and that was the beginning. So certain things do happen when you build on faith. The next step was to try to figure out how to build these first 100 houses. And we helped Habitat for Humanity and Builders of Hope, two of the very best affordable housing providers in the city, formed a partnership. We worked with Jerry, the land bank, and started getting houses foreclosed, and we started getting some momentum. And about the 50th or 60th house, we kind of looked up and realized that what started at one house was going to be hugely successful. And about 18 months ago, we were blessed with a tremendous gift and support from the Reese Jones Foundation. And they gave us a $5.6 million gift and grant to both Habitat and DFCC and Builders of Hope. And they said, we want you to take this, we want you to leverage, and we want you to build 300 more houses. And so starting 18 months ago, we started building those 300 houses. We knew that there were still problems in the neighborhood, and as Mayor Leopard alluded, about 90 days ago, we were able to buy out a, let's call it a challenged portfolio of rental housing. As the mayor we described, we were able to tear down a couple of those houses 2 weekends ago. One of the houses we tore down was the scene of 250 police incident reports. And so crime is dramatically being reduced in that neighborhood. So while we're here today, really to celebrate some great success that really many of us thought to be impossible when you looked at the history of our city of really doing a holistic redevelopment of the neighborhood. But this success has really not come very easily if you think about it. We've not been an overnight success because it's taken us 5 years. But if you think about the DFCC logo, which is a block, and it has 4 sides on that block, and each of those sides is critical to our success. That first side is the community. And to all of the community leaders here today, thank you for sharing your children and your neighborhood with us. And you've been a wonderful partner, and we hope we've been a wonderful partner. The second part of that 4-sided square is the public sector. And the City of Dallas has been a phenomenal partner. And the City of Dallas works in West Dallas. The Community College District is opening a new college there. And that's going to be a big, big help. And eventually, we're going to be able to impact DISD and the Dallas Housing Authority, but we're blessed with some great public servants, and we've got great public partnerships, and you have to have that to do this work. The third side is the community development groups, the nonprofits, the foundations that have given us not only their financial resources, but their intellectual resources. And one of the things that's been very magical about West Dallas is we have nonprofits working together. That's usually pretty unusual. Nonprofits are like gangs. They're a little bit turf-minded. They usually don't work together. But in West Dallas, these nonprofits are working together. It's not always pretty, it's not always easy, but the results are great. And then the last is the faith community. This really is an effort of faith, because who would have thought we would be this successful? And the faith community has been a constant resource to us. When we're successful, your humility keeps us balanced. When we're disappointed, your prayers keep us pumped up. And we do need those prayers. But this 4-legged stool doesn't come together very easily, as you know. And often, egos and institutional missions conflict with each other. And it takes a real special servant leader to bring that together. And I'm very proud of the DFCC staff. Jenny and Esmeralda, thank you for everything that you guys do every day to make this possible. But sometimes when it feels like no good deed goes unpunished in this business, it takes a real true servant leader to take the blame when things go wrong, to deflect success to our community partners when things go wrong. And what I'd like to do is very briefly, before I turn this over to Regina Nippert, is ask Regina to come up here and maybe give her a little surprise. Regina joined us about 2 years ago, and let me tell you, one of the chairman's 2 missions are to find a great staff and get out of her way, and that's what I do. And what I'd like to do is give Regina a symbolic, we've got a shovel.